You've seen it more times than you probably realize. A few moments of action. A quick cut to a worried or impressed side character observing the struggle. Show a couple more punches. Then back to the crowd as they collectively gasp. This traditional style of reaction shots is the laugh track of fight scenes. To clarify, this video is not condemning the use of reaction shots. In fact, they represent one of the most important outcomes of a fight. When done well, they can help build tension, communicate changing relationships or character traits, provide comedic relief, or even be as important to the fight as the action itself. The criticism here is that integrating them into a scene has become somewhat of a lost art. If your camera work or fight choreography fails to match the timing of the shot, the result can be immersion-breaking and a major disruption to the flow of action. Some shots can get so egregious that viewers often criticize them as showing a clear lack of trust in the audience, and all too often, it's hard to disagree. Over the years, more subtle takes on the reaction shot have been popularized. Old-school heads like Jackie Chan used to either make his reaction shots relevant to the fight by giving the shot a separate purpose, or just leave his characters in the background, with a comedic twist, of course. He may not have been the first, but he certainly knew how to present it in his very own way. It makes sense then that with the growing popularity of longer and uninterrupted fights, quite a few modern releases try to draw from this style to keep action and reaction in the same frame. So while traditional reaction shots are still used within the natural breaks of the fight, when the assassin comes looking for Jason Bourne, more often than not, if you're seeing Maria, you're seeing Bourne. Doing this limits the audience's breaks from the conflict on screen, and at the same time, expresses the relative location of each character. After all, we have seen this space before, not once, but twice from her exact perspective. And our minds will fill in the blanks, making the camera angle feel wider than the close-up shaky cam style normally allows. It's a simplistic approach to fixing the issues caused by the use of reaction shots, which, unfortunately, has its own downside. Capturing the reaction shot now has a timing component attached to it, and even if the best cut manages to escape the editing room floor, it's practically guaranteed to lack the impact it may have had in a dedicated take. For those filmmakers who find the reward of a great reaction shot just too high to pass up, there must be some way to minimize the risk and negatives of this style of shooting, right? Let us turn to the 2016 adaptation of The Fifth Wave, in which a young girl by the name of Cassie puts her survival skills to use following an alien invasion. Widely panned by critics, I was surprised to see a certain amount of sure-handedness in the camera work and screenplay. In spite of the less-than-stellar story, the movie displays a handful of cool ideas, as well as unique visuals that I think we can learn from. During one of the few action sequences of the movie, Cassie is approached by a pair of armed guards. We get a quick look at her just before her friend Evan drops in to save the day. We then get a second, visually identical reaction from Cassie before returning to the fight. Did you notice anything weird about the transition to and from Cassie's reaction? As we return to the fight, we get this shot. Lasting only 16 frames, it's the fastest cut within this sequence, and filmed at an angle we never returned to. So why was it placed here? In longer scenes, the action might be shot on several cameras at once to transition between stunts, or small segments may be reperformed to cover up mistakes or to provide emphasis on an action. Yet the behind-the-scenes footage shows us the take from this angle was performed in its entirety at least once. I don't actually know of a term for this, so for now I'll simply refer to it as a soft cut. Notice the similarities in the framing of this new, inserted shot, and the reaction. The red light is on the left, and the thin blue and red bars are on the right. The very next frame we see returns us to the familiar bright background, and the cut is timed in a way that Evan remains between the guards for just a couple more frames. So when we cross the line, the character composition of the scene doesn't change. I think this is done specifically to help the audience process the rapid change of visuals and steps. Coming back from Cassie's reaction shot, we first change the focal point from Cassie to Evan and the guards, but keep the background similar. Then we instantly change again, this time keeping Evan and the guards in the same spot, but allowing the background change. Your eyes maintained the focal point because there was a constant at every turn. It takes the same reasoning behind a match cut, with the main difference being that it needed to happen twice to get back to the original image. It's an interesting yet not always feasible way to handle the issue. It's an effect that requires coordination between the film crew, the editor, and the set itself to achieve. And who knows, I could be completely wrong, simply reading way too far into an edit that had no meaning behind it at all. Welp, that's film theory for you.